The DC Center for Independent Living is the only organization in Washington, D.C. that provides for all disabilities. They fight to break down all barriers. And here to explain more is Richard Sims. We welcome you to Let's Talk Live. And what is the Center for Independent Living for people at home that are watching right now that may not know?
The DC Center for Independent Living is a community-based organization that serves all people with disabilities from the cradle to the grave. We work to provide independent living skills training, which can run the gamut from teaching a blind person how to travel, to teaching someone how to manage their money, to peer counseling and support. One person with a disability talking to another person with a disability, talking about resources in the community, advocacy, both individual and systems advocacy. A good example of systems advocacy is we have sued the district government because they prepared an emergency preparedness plan and left out people with disabilities. Don't know how they did it, but they did it.
Really?
Yeah.
What qualifies as a disability? How do you define a disability?
Any condition that substantially limits you from performing your daily activities. And it has been changed a little bit along the way. They've added HIV, AIDS, they've added several disabilities, traumatic brain injury, anything that will limit you from carrying out your day-to-day activities, from lifting, walking, talking, breathing, thinking. Those are considered disabilities.
And then who's eligible for the services that you guys provide?
Any person with a disability. It could be, see, we provide information and referral as well. So if you don't have a disability and you just want information that's available in the community, you can come in and get that information.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
How are you guys funded?
Primarily through the federal government. The Administration for Community Living, which is under HHS, and we're funded, there are centers for independent living throughout the country. You're funded by the population. So DC is funded similarly to Delaware. We have about the same population. But I can assure you that that funding is shrinking every year. Yeah.
And so where will you go for funding?
Well, one of the things that we do is we depend upon people like you, to your kindness, your generosity, to donate to organizations that you see that are worthy in helping people in the community. And the other thing that people need to understand is Centers for Independent Living, 50% of their staff have to be people with significant disabilities. So our staff are about 70%, and so we hire people with disabilities. Wow. I might just throw in here that we can continue to build curb cuts, ramps. We can put them on every house in this country. We can provide assistive technology to every person with a disability. But unless we break down that attitudinal barrier, we're not going any further than we are now.
That's got to change.
Absolutely. We have to work to make sure that people with disabilities are included in the American society, and that you don't look at people with disabilities differently than you look at me or you.
Right. And do you think that that's still your biggest challenge?
Oh, indeed, indeed. I mean, like I say, we can put a curb cut on anywhere around here.
Right.
But unless I can convince you, kid, that I'm just as much of a person, just as capable as you are, then it's...
So how do we change that?
Well, I think what we do is one of the things that the center does is we work hard to integrate people with disabilities into the American society. We don't want segregated housing. We don't want these events where just people with disabilities go.
Right.
You've got to see us on K Street. We got to see us in these newsrooms.
Right.
That's how we break down these barriers.
And patience.
Oh, indeed, indeed, absolutely, absolutely, yes. That's a good word.
Recognizing that, okay, giving the person the opportunity to, because otherwise, how are they going to
Absolutely.
grow?
James Brown, during the civil rights, height of the civil rights movement, wrote a song called And the words were, "I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I'll get it myself." That's the same mantra that's applicable right now. Don't give us anything. Just open the door. Well, let's get it. Yeah.
All right, let's real quickly talk about where people can get more information. Can you take volunteers of people that can volunteer their time or money?
Absolutely, absolutely. We can go on our website, www.dccil.org. You can donate. There's a donate button on there. You can call us at 202-388-0033. We're located at 1400 Florida Avenue, Northeast DC.
And what are some of the volunteer opportunities for people?
Well, we always use people to work one-on-one with people. It may be to help them read, a blind person, help them read. It may be the opportunity to help someone who's paralyzed from the neck down do certain things. We have one of our directors of independent living services is paralyzed from the neck down, and he needs an aid to help him do things during the day.
Fascinating, Richard. Great to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine.
Thanks so much, sir.
My pleasure.
All right, much more of Let's Talk Live right after the break.